Hello there, it's Bike Touring Mike here, and welcome to the third and final day of this tour. Woke up to a lovely weather this morning as well, and the plan now is to just pack down the tent and then head on back to the trail and go upstream towards the Mårdsele Rapids, where my wife and kids are picking me up later this afternoon. According to this sign, this village claims themselves to be Sweden's prettiest little village. So I guess we're gonna have to take a little detour here. This house to the right here looks just like Pippi Longstocking's house. So I just received a text from my wife wondering how far away from the Mårdsele Rapids I was. So I checked Google Maps and it said 45 kilometers. Oops! A classical case of miscommunication between a husband and a wife. We talked yesterday about getting there at around lunch, and according to her, lunch seems to be at about 11:30, and I was more thinking maybe 2 p.m. or so. So now I'm just keeping my head down and putting in the miles, and I promised her to be there at around 2. So I hope she and the kids find something to do around there. Maybe eat some lunch and go for a little hike or so. Finally I found some water. I'm all out of water and I have 19 kilometers left to go. I've actually been here in ÅMSELE one time before. During my university studies we had a field week here in ÅMSELE, and I have a funny anecdote from back then. We had this German guy who studied as a foreign exchange student. The sole purpose of his studies here in Sweden was to be able to see some moose. And I remember one day we had been out all day in the forest, and we were divided in two groups, and the group I was in had seen two moose during the day. So when we got back to the cabins in the evening, I told him about our experience with the moose, and he dropped everything he had in his hands and shouted, "Where did you see him?" So I basically told him where I'd seen him. It was maybe 20 or 30 kilometers away from here. So he jumped into the car and drove all the way out there. The only problem is that moose tend to move around during the day. They can probably walk for up to 50-60 kilometers each day. So of course when he finally arrived there in the late evening, there weren't any moose left. Take a look at the road here ahead of me for the next coming kilometers. Got this really wild shoulder all to myself. Woohoo! No, actually I think this is a reserve airstrip for airplanes. They have these things here and there in Lapland here in Sweden, since most of the airports are along the coast in northern Sweden. So in case of a mechanical emergency and the plane needs to land, they have these reserve airstrips. You can see the sign for the Mårdsele Nature Reserve up ahead here. So I basically just got a couple of 100 meters left. Totally beat. I think I made those 45 kilometers in under 2 hours, which is normally not my type of riding, but sometimes you gotta compromise. Pretty much concludes the adventures here along the Vindel River trail. If I were to summarize my 2 tours around this area, I would probably say that the first half, the one I started last year up in Mårdsele, was probably the nicest to do. If you remember the videos from last year, I think I passed around 20 rapids or so. So the beginning of the Vindel River trail is a lot more spectacular than the end here. But the Mårdsele Rapid here and the Vindel Rapid down in Vinden are really spectacular as well. This trip I actually thought the second day, yesterday, was the nicest. I had no expectations and I really didn't plan anything, I just winged it. And sometimes you find the nicest roads when you don't really expect it. So thanks for watching these 3+2 episodes, and I hope to see you in another adventure really soon again. Until next time, have a good one.